Let me take you from Lewis and Clark to Brad Pitt. A year ago, I was teaching a Doctor of Ministry class at Denver Seminary. I had a chance to go do some fly fishing with a friend of mine up in Cheeseman Canyon after my class let out. He was one of the Presbyterian ministers at the time. We felt like we were living out A River Runs Through It. 2 Presbyterian pastors fly fishing as the sunset went down. We didn't stop to eat or anything. If you got a chance to catch a 17-inch brown trout on a wonderful Colorado night, you don't eat. Except at 11:30 at night when I got back to my hotel, the only place that was open was a bar. So I walked into this bar at 11:30 at night, saw that they had midnight happy hour, ordered myself a personal pizza, asked the guy to change the television over to Sports Center, and I looked for the Angel highlights while I enjoyed a pizza and a beer in the middle of Colorado all by myself. It was incredible. Until a guy walked up down next to me, plopped into the thing, threw his keys on the counter, ordered himself a double bourbon, and looked at me and said, "So, what are you doing here?" Now, you pastors, you've been in this, right? You have to decide, is this a divine moment when God wants me to lead this person to talk about Jesus, or can I just look for the angel score? I'm opting for angel score. I'm hoping I got nothing to do here but to enjoy my little moment of quiet. I'm thinking, oh, Lord, if you want me to say something, then give me a sign. And he looks at me and says, "So, what do you do?" Okay. I look at him and say, "I'm a pastor." He looks at his watch, he looks at the bar, he looks at my beer, he looks up at the sky, and he goes, "No, expletive deleted." So, since I got you here, let me ask you, what do you do when you're not preparing those little speeches you do? I looked at him and I said, "You ever seen Fight Club?" He looked at me and said, "Yeah, I didn't think you had." So you ever seen the movie in Fight Club where Brad Pitt runs into Ed Norton on an airplane and Ed Norton's trying to impress the guy next to him and he's talking to Brad Pitt and Brad Pitt looks at him and says, "So, you think you're pretty clever, don't you?" He says, "Oh, I try to be." And Brad Pitt looks at him and says, "So how's that working out for you?" He lies, Ed Norton, and tries to impress him, tells him everything's great. But the reality is his world was literally burning down around him. Guy looks at me and shakes his head, and I look at him and said, "My job as a pastor is I try to spend time hanging out with people till I get the privilege of looking them in the eye and saying, 'So how's that working out for you?'" See, we live believing that there is a way to live. We believe we've got good news, and we believe that when people get out of denial and face the reality of their lives, they can change in such a way that they can find the life that God always intended for them. And he shook his head and told me about his girlfriend who left him because she was religious and he wasn't. And how he's really had some questions. And since we've got a few minutes, would you mind if we talked? You know what the Odyssey Group is doing, folks? We're looking at ourselves in the mirror as a Presbyterian. We're asking the question, so how's that working out for you? How's it working out doing church the way we've been doing it for a generation? How's it working out doing presbytery the way we've been doing it? How's it really working out for us? Or can we envision that maybe it can be different?